Hello, folks. We are back here on DST show to go over AEW Dynamite. April 15th, 2020. We are still in some kind of secluded facility. I don't think AEW goes that much into the details, obviously, probably for privacy reasons and other reasons, especially for the state that they're in and how they wanted to do their stay home policy. And thanks for doing this in a more secluded area where nobody will find out. Everything will be kept secret, everything kept safe, but it's still going to be, I guess they still pre-record their episodes. Uh, Pretty safe in the natural reasons. I don't want to go that into it. Let's just go into the show right now. Get into this wild escapism that was AEW Dynamite episode, I don't know, whatever, April 15th. Well, it started off with, the tournament for the TNT Championship involving Lance Archer facing off against Colt Cabana in the first round. And these guys had a match, pretty alright match. I thought it was they went over this inside package, and yes, you should go over a vignette, especially for an 8-man tournament. You have more guys to establish. And Colt Cabana had a lot of reverse elbows. At one time, he was running up. Lance Archer was about to Irish whip him really hard through the turnbuckle. Colt Cabana stopped the momentum by jumping and hitting his foot on the second rope. But that's what you basically think. Colt Cabana will treat the ring like a playground. Springboard plancha from the top when Archer was outside, a running pounce in the middle of momentum. Lance Archer, I think, in the middle of an entrance, started punching somebody, and it just ended up as that. So close near falls start running, double leg hook for the pin, only got a 2 count. Elbow, Chris Jericho is still on commentary, pointing out the elbow, bringing it up over Japan. And he doesn't like to sell in the Inner Circle members until they're in a match or involved in the show. And thankfully for that, he gets to see Hager in action later for the world title tonight. So, pretty interesting match. Lance Archer obviously won over the Blackout. If you don't know, he used to be called Vance Archer from WWE, so he got taller and obviously longer hair, if you guys don't remember him. So we also had a bit of a backstage vignette involving interesting way how to go things. I felt like the the doctor or showing specific ways that you injured somebody to be is accurate from whatever in the hell Kevin Knox did from back in the day when his later run on SmackDown. And Britt Baker went over her deviated septum and how much it was a cheap victory going over the nose. And blood rushing, making all these cheap excuses. When you guys see dudes with crimson masks and people getting lacerations, you still see them get the win. So it's a decent thing to at least show he's really trying to get into a nurse gimmick, even though a doctor gimmick really focuses on the human body. But she's a dentist, so I guess that's more impressive than being a doctor. And yeah, we still gotta call her by that doctor's title because a dentist is important, especially when you're taking hits to the head for a majority of your wrestling career. So yeah, I just went over Hikaru Shie and her enziguri that hit her in the nose. So it was at least interesting for that. I know that it's supposed to be heel. I'm a babyface thing. It gets a bit corny, especially for a majority of her run, just playing rough third for the AEW Women's Title, and not really getting her due. She's not even that pushed for a majority of this. And I'm not saying that she should be. I'm just saying that this gimmick is not taken as seriously as people think it is. She chunks up TV time, and all she does is just disrespect Tony Schiavone. And he even runs off this joke with mocking him via video chat on BT or being the elite. Yeah, let's go into another segments part. I'm not gonna go that into it because there's a lot of the show to go to, and we of course had the segments involving hyping up the AEW Championship match, and I have to say that AEW does a better job than WWE. I know the WWE title is already spoken for; it's one of the most prestigious championships, and AEW trying to build up like a legit athletic spectacle. But this time, it was gonna be over Moxley's role. Jericho already discussed before that it doesn't matter. This is a whole unit. We're a whole family. It's not just me winning the AEW title. And he was morally supporting Jake Hager in the middle of the commentary table. It was pretty cool. I like that way, and it's a rarity what happens to a faction. But if Hager won the title, I think the behavior of Jericho would be completely different. I would obviously be going over the Bubbly Bunch segment later on, so stay tuned for that. We of course had guys video chat. I think we had a black guy. We had a dude that did MMA commentary, ESPN commentary, going over like some of the positives and the negatives over these guys' skills and attributes. And it's like, okay, it's nice, but they dragged it up to three dudes instead of some of the wrestlers or at least some Hall of Famers and probably some guys that look like they never watched wrestling. So I just felt it was a bit corny, but I can see why they chipped it in to make it hype. But it wasn't that needed for a match that obviously Moxley was gonna win. So I didn't mind that. I mean, it comes worse and worse that they kept hyping up Jake Hager's MMA background and career, and I can understand they're hyping up his finishing move as some kind of sleeper hold, and then Hager, and then they keep Jericho hypes it up, the media hypes it up. Hager is undefeated in MMA with his last one was notorious for kneeing someone in the crotch, and he uses that as a runoff move like the punt kick from Randy Orton. And he even did that when they were getting up on Moxley once, a runoff knee to the groin, and now it's patented move. I don't get how that makes him intimidating at all. I mean, if Goldust does a kick to the nuts, I'm sorry if I'm supposed to be afraid of that. That's his dumb thing. Kind of did the value to the MMA career from there. And plus, you're fighting Bellator. That's like the NXT of real MMA fighting. But it's still MMA fighting. You gotta you show big ups to Jake Hager. I mean, Lashley was in Bellator, and he had a great record. He only had two losses in his MMA career, and he did it even longer. We had a jobber face off against Britt Baker, D, and to say the jobber had some cakes. I mean, that's not part of the discussion, but I wanted to bring it up. Other than that, uh, Britt Baker obviously got a heel win after two losses, and then she comes around stomping on the lady's jaw, obviously, because haha, she's a dentist. She comes around continuously stomping, doing neck breakers, disrespecting the jobber, and then wins off. I think she stomped her jaw into the damn bottom rope. He picked up the pin that way, and obviously was gloating against Hikaru Shida that gave her broken nose the previous Dynamite. So that was interesting. Basic heel win, but I wish it wasn't upon a jobber. I mean, yeah, there was still Sugar D or whatever Jericho call him, pineapple something in a match. It was dumb. Jericho can make some creative names. He really can. He's a really creative dude, and I respect the hell out of him. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and nothing's gonna change it. Felt like he was a bit off the ball in the middle of the match. That continued going on and on, especially for a squash match. Shug D's match shouldn't have took this long. This could have been a simple squash match, but I understand. Show off, show off. Top of the rope, show off. Sammy Guevara would get the finish of the match with a torture knee to the face. There was some kicks. Tony Schiavone was like trying to be like, when the hell is this match gonna end? There was a Samoan drop. Sammy Guevara obviously flexed. The match was as basic as a mid card match against a young guy like him would go. Did I feel like this match just needed to take long? No. Why did it take long? I don't know. But he just said, nah, let's go another match. I can go 100 times. We're gonna save myself for the TNT Championship tournament. So I guess that was basic enough. And he said he'll battle to beat the shit out of Alton and Darby because they like saying shit a lot. So Jake Hager said shit. I understand they're TV-14. They can say whatever they want unless it hits like huge guidelines. The only people not to say shit, I think, was Ortiz and Santana. Or I'd be completely wrong in that statement. Guevara, Jericho, Santana, I think said shit. I know Hager said shit in the bubbly bunch segment. We obviously had Jericho say shit numerous amounts of times, even beating the shit out of each other, calling Jungle Boy a piece of shit. But that was a majority of the match. Next up, we had a match that no one cared about completely. I think I missed it because I did not review the previous week episode of Dynamite. That's completely my fault. We had Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford with Orange Cassidy in the corner of Chuck Taylor. Somehow no Trent. I don't know what this match was about. I thought the best friends were still feuding with the Triangle of Death or Pain. With Pentagon, Phoenix, well, Lucha Brothers, and Pac. Or Neville, if you know him more. And they were supposed to have a street fight, but thanks, I guess, to where the area they were going now, I guess they had to reschedule and just do regular mid-card matches and build up till then. Because we won't have Blood and Guts until May 25th, May 25th, and the next pay-per-view will be a few days after that, so before that. So, yeah, a lot of rescheduling going on for obvious reasons. So, for the match, we had a basic freaking match. Hurricane Arana. There was a springing plancha from the inside for a near fall. Rebound into a vertical suplex. Chuck Taylor would have some momentum until Penelope Ford came in. And then freaking Jamie Havoc would come in and plancha a blame bus, like some kind of elevated DDT into Orange Cassidy. So that would technically be it. Because Penelope Ford would come out of nowhere for Hurricane and run to the Chuck Taylor. Then Kip Sabian would take advantage, and then that would be the match. Kip Sabian will get a win after I think he was suffering a losing streak for quite a while since losing to Joey Janela, and I haven't seen him in a while since I think a six-man tag involving Private Party. And I am not that impressed with some majority of the mid card. So I don't know why Kip Sabian and his thing is just that he's with Joey Janela's girl, and nobody can say Norfolk, England, and the best friends are the gayest thing I've ever. Every time I just feel uncomfortable. Every time I see their entrance. Every time, like I know these must be likable dudes. I can understand they're not all right wrestlers. They're just really, really with a weird gimmick that they're just best friends, and it's super gay. It feels like Billy and Chuck if they went for it. And Orange Cassidy, the most over guy, is just with them for a basic hug gimmick that's practically their entire thing. That's their entire character, and it's just so retarded. But it works for Orange Cassidy. Thinks it can work off simple shit like that. So basic as that is, the match did what it could, and probably going to like issue a tag match in the near future, probably in 2 weeks. So we're gonna have something like that. Next up, we had Justice Law against Sean Spears. Sean Spears is still edging to get a new tag team partner. I guess they still issue that in the conversation. And seriously, they even put that in some people's matches. And I don't know what's going to be in the future of Shawn Spears after losing to Cody Rhodes just a few weeks ago on Dynamite in the tournament for the first round. And thanks to Lance Archer winning, guess who in the hell Cody faces in the second round of the tournament? And that's Lance Archer in the semifinals. Fuck. And Shawn Spears nearly lost via schoolboy. Reverse did a fall away slam over a fireman's carry. I don't know much about Shawn Spears other than he's trying to neglect that he had a perfect 10 gimmick for the past 4 or 5 years, and he overshadows it by having Tully Blanchard getting shooting up to the top that he had several matches already with Cody Rhodes, and he's supposed to be a top of the line mid carder, and yet he comes around losing in important matches that should be getting him pushed. But obviously, they're doing the babyface to heel cycle in a tournament. Say, like the G1 Climax, where you're scheduled to face off against dudes like that and try to show your best every freaking week. That's like torturous. So obviously, they would do the better thing and just let Shawn Spears win and losing, get his name up more in the mid card, make him face off against Jobber. There was 3 squash matches, and the main event was just for the world title in an empty arena match for the world championship, and we ended up with some dude from Bellator hyping up Santina, hyping up Moxley, getting some references that he's an ass kicker, and that's technically it, or just Dean Ambrose but buffer. What the match was? Meh. I mean, I'll go over some explanations. The match took as basic as though they're fighting outside, punches, punches, punches. A couple of hits into trying to use over the hit scissors, just in a basic sleeper hold from the outside, but Hager wouldn't give in. Start tossing Irish whipping each other over the barricade. Yep, no, people are there to protect people using a guardrail or barricade. But there would be no point other than the reason to, like, I guess, slow down the match for a bit, even though they would fight outside into the arena anyway. There would be a figure four onto a guardrail of the attendant steps, audience seats, and they would take it back into the ring. I mean, did I think the match was fun? The match was okay with no crowd. It felt like there's no energy. I mean, yes, you got a Hager and Moxley match, but that felt like if you were playing 2K20 mute. You need kind of something there to put some energy into the wrestling match, or you just got yourself a regular wrestling match. A quick paradigm shift for a near fall, and then there was a sleeper hold. Fucking a paradigm shift attempt again, but this time it was triangle, body scissors, and then a headlock. Hager nearly had a sleeper hold, and then he got a gut wrench powerbomb. He hasn't used that in quite a minute since being on WWE. He came around, nearly got a near fall. The ankle lock was hooked in when Hager from the chair involved in the match, and it ended up with him sweeping him away. Then the chair would be involved again. Moxley would toss it into his face, and then he took a paradigm shift with the chair. Moxley would win in a 20 something minute match. It was as entertaining as it could be, being with no crowd involved. It didn't feel like they broke anything, even though they had the entire arena to themselves. There was no tables to break. They didn't plan to add more stuff involved. No inner circle, especially when Sammy Guevara or Chris Jericho were still in the show, and those were the only inner circle members there would be in a match like this. I hyped up the time and the bubbly bunch that Hager will close your ears, kids. Beat the shit out of John Moxley for the AEW World Title. That was probably the funniest part of the thing, next to Jericho flipping an egg over to the yolk and still cooking it. A bit of banter with Santana and Ortiz, and Sammy Guevara was just there. and it was fun. It was fun. Jericho knows how to make a segment great, and that thing was great. But it was too comedic, and it kind of undersold the factor that Hager had a championship match, and if he won, that would change his career. So at least that was good. I didn't feel like this match was that exciting thanks to the crowd. This show gets a 5 out of 10. I thought it was okay, but I thought there was too many squash matches. I know they're trying to turn the tide, and AEW has all the time in the world thanks to the crisis that we're in. But the show was pretty okay. But that's Dynamite for you. I would still watch this more than NXT. I hope in the near future I do NXT probably when there's crowds back or something. Or there's a given to watch it. There was a match I think involving Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, and all other matches they had are better than that last man standing match with Edge. I just don't think it deserved 1 star from Dave Meltzer. He's obviously the most disunbiased, ridiculous commentator ever to go over a 60-minute match. And they go over 2 60-minute matches that ended in one ended in a draw, the other one ended up with the champion winning anyway. And then thinking that it deserved 6 stars to tell what story, and then years later, the guy's like an upper mid Carter on a premiere TV show. Like we don't expect Kenny Omega to be a main eventer off the bat, but it's like what those 6 star ratings do for you now, and it's dumb now because I like Kenny Omega. I just feel like he shouldn't be getting that much of a high octane praise because he hasn't shown himself to be that much of a household name yet. But if that's what you guys expect from me, then you guys shouldn't be subscribing to my channel. I will answer that question with another dumb question, so expect the worst. We obviously, they're trying to use up all the talent that they have at the moment as a property. You'll see more like Nyla Rose. We haven't seen the women's champion in a while. We haven't seen SCU in a while. A bit more into the Dark Order, other than that segment involving some kind of lackey getting in with a suit somehow without him. Like the Dark Order operates wrong, and he comes around looking like a prickly princess. Like I understand they're trying to feel like this is Dark Order, this is my rules, I'm Brody Lee. It just feels weird, and it feels awkward in that stage, especially when the group was supposed to be dominant. And then they come around feeding with SCU, but probably when everything's back to normal, they'll do something more like that. When more wrestlers are able to come to an arena, come into a episode now. But that's practically it. This has 205 lives, regular capacity, but the show was watchable. Did I feel like they needed more? Yes. AEW show's been slowing down as of late. It wasn't as big as when Matt Hardy and Brody Lee came in, but that was 2 big signings. Now you have a whole lot of free agents, and obviously that AEW is already like shown not to be that much of a safe haven, especially with the work environment that they were given by the government. Suggested that you get like 50 people in a building, and they keep it mandatory means like, yeah, they have to slow down a lot of shit. So don't expect a lot from AEW to be something like guys like Rusev in English, Leo Rush, the Revolt, or anybody else at the moment, unless like they get themselves like there's a lot more wrestling fans, or there's more chances that they could get more people into the roster with the problem with the pandemic that we're all suffering. But that's Dynamite. This is DST show. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you like this video.